I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-looking for another load. Well, it's a family tradition, any Rocky Mountain day. Our fathers before us showed us the way. We work for asphalt cowboys and concrete kings, but that's never been a problem, cause we got diesel in our veins. We've got diesel in our veins. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks that just a truck.
What's up, JFW family? Welcome to the Channel 23 podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to reach out and touch the fleet, to engage and inform everyone with all things JFW. Good morning, Brother Dave, and welcome back, Brother Jim and Super Dave.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody.
We missed you guys.
Welcome back, everybody.
The boys are back in town, huh,
Yeah,
Jim?
it was kind of weird not having these guys here the last couple of days.
Right,
So,
yeah.
Super Dave, we know you were at Disney and you were down at your granddaughter's cheerleading competition. What were you doing, Jim? Anything cool?
Yeah, I went to the Waste Management golf tournament that they had this weekend. I think it's the second tournament, or however it looks, in the PGA events for the year. So, yeah, but I went with some friends from actually high school. Three of them we did go to high school together, so it's been over 40 years that we've been friends.
Oh, wow.
And that was the thing that's the most important. We've always stayed in touch, but we reconnected last year and decided to try to do something once a year, because two of them live in Florida, two of them live here in Colorado, and just to keep that connection after 40 years is kind of important. It's a neat thing. We can all try to remember this person's name from 40 years ago and laugh because we can't.
Right. How'd you golf?
It was a tournament. You go and watch them play, Jam.
Oh, you went to a PGA
tournament, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's probably one of the rowdiest that there is. I mean, they had to shut it down. They sold tickets, but they just made it where you could show up on any day. And Saturday, they ended up having to close the tournament and cut off liquor sales. They had over 200,000 people show up.
Imagine that. People drinking, getting mouthy.
And it was,
Shaka.
Yeah, it got bad. We went Sunday, and Sunday was really a nice day, but Saturday was a little out of control.
So you got kicked out?
We didn't Sunday. I mean, I mean,
you didn't go Saturday when all the mayhem was going
on.
No,
but I mean, you have to do a lot to get kicked out. But yeah, we can talk about it a little bit later in the podcast.
You never know. But I got kicked out of a Metallica concert once, so that was pretty hard to do as well.
That's rough when you get kicked out of a Metallica concert, right? Wow, I have all new respect for you, Jake.
Soup, what about your trip? Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, got kicked out of Disney World.
It was wonderful. I mean, the weather was perfect, just clouds and sun, not a drop of rain, high in the mid-70s. The last full day we were there, it was 83, and my granddaughter did amazing. She was a rock on her team. My son-in-law Nick had counted, there was I want to say 1,400 teams from all over the country. Now, they're all in different brackets, but my granddaughter's team from Douglas County finished 8th. And only 6 made it to finals, so she didn't make it to finals, but,
darn close.
Yeah, 8th out of over, I would just say, a couple of hundred teams in her bracket is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. How many people to a team, Dave? Does it vary?
I was talking to Jennifer about that. Not every kid has the ability to go because of the cost and things. It cost my daughter $3,000 just to say, "Here, Lexi, you're going."
Yeah,
that's not counting all of our costs and her
and
family, because she brought her brother and everybody else. So I mean, it's a big deal. I think the teams have maybe about 30 people, and some teams were bigger than others. Some of the teams had people cheering that were all in the same uniforms and stuff, but they weren't out on the floor. So I think there is only a certain number of people or kids that can actually compete and they picked their best kids, right? But obviously there was some others that were there that didn't compete, that were cheering in the front row. And oh man, these kids, they know these cheers. I joked with Jennifer, it's like football for girls. Because they train, this thing goes 11, and I thought of Sam.
Now, wait a minute. Isn't there boys there too, Dave?
No, not in this competition. It was all girls.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't read the disclaimer yet.
It was all girls.
Not
Even
one
in the
boy
high school
cheerleader?
levels. No.
What?
Yep. It was
That's
all,
racist.
That's a whole different thing, apparently. Because I was talking to Nick about it, and that's a whole different thing.
Huh.
Is co-ed cheerleading. But I was talking to Jennifer about that. Oh gosh, what did you just ask me? I forgot.
Wow.
Well, I started with how many people per team, but
Right,
you were
no.
talking about how many. Go ahead.
Yeah, all the cheers, they work 11 months out of the year.
Wow.
And I thought of Sam because his swimming was like all year long.
Yeah.
And Jennifer was like, it's the only high school sport that doesn't have like the summer off.
Wow.
And
It kind of makes sense because every individual sport in high school they cheer at.
Right.
Right?
And
If you run
So-
track or you're in track, you just have your track season. But if you're cheering
Absolutely.
at it, you cheer at track, basketball, baseball,
Yeah.
football. all of
They
those,
got
right?
to
Cross
Florida.
country.
The team landed at 2:30 in the morning. They went to school all day long that day.
Wow.
And then they competed the next day and the next couple days if they went to finals. But then they flew home yesterday and had to cheer at a basketball game last night.
Oh, that's dedication.
Oh
dude.
man, I'm
That's-
telling you, these kids are amazing. They're
yeah,
troopers.
I mean, you don't think of it as a sport when you hear it, right? But it's truly a sport. It's amazing.
The maneuvers, the
Yeah.
jumping, the lifts
Yeah.
they do, the tumbling they do.
Hopefully they did it with the same amount of energy after the Disney trip, coming back and like, yeah, go team, go.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know you said that, not teams could be up to 30 people. Just quick math on that. I know you said 30, not everyone brought 30 because they couldn't afford it or whatever, but I mean, if there were 1,500 teams, that's what you said, right?
Right around, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, times 30 people, that's 45,000
Oh,
cheerleaders.
Disney
that-
did well.
That's what I call, as a young man in high school, a target-rich environment.
Here's the kicker, you guys. All of these competitions are held at the ESPN Wide World of Sports complex,
Yeah.
right? It's adjacent to Disney World. You know that Disney owns ESPN, right? So this is all Disney.
Wow.
And you could not hardly move. There was way more people
Wow.
at this event at Wide World of Sports than there was in Disney World when we were walking around.
Wow.
Hey, shout out to Mikey's granddaughter, Olivia. I don't know if
Right.
you saw the
Yeah.
pictures she started cheering. Melissa posted some
Yeah.
pictures on Facebook, and she's like cheering with the big girls. So it's like, I mean, they're young kids still, but big girl, peanut.
Yeah.
It was really, really cute. So, all right, you guys ready to kick off the pledge?
Yeah.
Man, I can't wait.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Man, I forgot to invite people to say it with us.
Oh, right.
Slipping.
Almost need to add that in there, Jim.
I need to make better notes.
Write that in there.
Interesting. Father God, we thank you for the opportunity to go out and do some trucking today. We pray for the safety of our fleet, all of their families, and all the other families and individuals we come across on the road today. We pray for patience and in making the good, safe decisions. We pray to be accident-free and that we all make it back to the comforts of our homes this evening. We pray for healing and 100% recovery for all of our family members that are ill. No matter what, we trust you, God, and it's in Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
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 As a reminder, anything, and I mean anything you hear on today's podcast, is not the opinion of JFW's. It is just our expressed opinion, so don't sue us. Episode 118 did okay, 670 downloads. That was a Ryan Byers episode. Ryan did a great job.
He did do a good job.
Yep, put us over 65,000 total downloads, and we went up to 542 followers.
That's awesome.
Yep. But no new listens from India. That kind of
Oh, bummer.
Well,
broke my heart a little bit.
yeah. That's a bummer,
It is.
especially if Ryan did know him.
I know.
They didn't get to hear how well he did.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. It is time for the Dad Joke Challenge. We'll let Jim or Super Dave go first.
Oh, because we're the new guys?
Yep. Well, Jim, you were here last week, so really,
It's Dave.
it's Dave. Yeah.
I can go, though. I got one from Rick Gray, and I thought it was appropriate for all the things we talk about and stuff. What does a person with diarrhea and an owner of an electric car have in common?
I've heard this one before, and I can't remember it.
Oh no, I can't wait for the punchline though.
They both hope they can make it home.
Oh man, I love it.
Well, I'll tell you, happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Today's Valentine's Day.
Thanks, Super Dave.
So I got a couple of Valentine's jokes.
Great.
Perfect.
All right. What is the best Valentine's Day dinner?
Don't know.
A hearty one.
That's a good one. I like that.
And when should you ask someone out on a coffee date?
On Valentine's Day.
Ready? When you like them a latte. I thought they were both cute.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good.
Well, Sam sent me this one. He said, did you hear about the guy that walked into Home Depot and asked for some 2x4s?
Nope.
No? The clerk said, right this way. How long do you need them? The guy says, a really long time. I'm building a house. And then this one I loved. Do you guys know there are only 3 kinds of people in the world?
Strong, smart.
Nope. Those that can do math and those that can't.
Well, that's true. 4 out of 3 people do have trouble. So did you guys know that the average American walks 900 miles a year and drinks 22 gallons of coffee? So that's 41 miles a gallon.
Oh, man.
Good stuff. Before we move on to celebrations, I did want to tell you, so Bella was at school the other day. They had a substitute teacher, and the teacher has a psychology background, so she starts off class with like, if anybody in this class thinks they're stupid, stand up. And nobody stood up, and after a while, Bella stands up, and the teacher's like, Bella, do you think you're stupid? She's like, no, I just didn't want you to stand up there by yourself.
That's funny.
No new employees this week. Celebrations, though. Anniversaries. Man, Robert Bear Lincoln, 1 year yesterday.
Nice. Congratulations, Bear.
Yep,
Yep,
the bear.
congratulations. Heard him say good morning this morning, in fact.
It's been a great year, Bear. And then Linda Frazier, she hits 13 years tomorrow.
Wow.
Lucky 13. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Good for you, Linda. Thanks for all you do for us.
It's a long time.
Yep, you're a rock star, Linda.
Nice job, Linda. Birthdays. Mikey Peterson had a birthday on Monday, and boy, was he happy to celebrate with us. The look of discomfort on his face every time somebody said happy birthday was something else. And then Zach Tharp had a birthday, or is having a birthday Monday. No, had a birthday Monday, and then Steve Barnes is having a birthday this Friday.
Well, happy birthday, you guys.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Happy birthday, everybody. That's
And
your
then-
own private holiday. Did you know that?
Oh, good point.
That's a good way to look at it, Dave.
I like that. And then family birthday celebrations. Happy belated birthday to Lauren Potkeeter. That's George's daughter. She's all the way in South Africa. And then to Mario Areola. That is Veronica's son.
Nice.
Yeah, happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday, peeps.
And then we got a really nice thank you letter from Sue Hawk. It said, good morning, Jim, Dave, and Joanne. Thank you for the birthday and Amazon card again this year. And it's important that you know how much the extra efforts with spouses mean. Not many companies understand the deep importance of values, but clearly JFW does. And the cards reflect the many ways you appreciate both all the people who are part of your employee team, but also their families. And in today's chaotic world, business owners who care about and demonstrate their commitment to their people absolutely win out. Simon Sinek has long been followed in getting right to the root of business success, and I also appreciate his thoughts on culture because it reflects how both great and not so great actions can create ripples that end up as tsunamis in organizations. Corporate culture matters. How management chooses to treat its people impacts everything for better or worse. I also believe that no matter how large or small a gesture, it matters. Taking the time to send the cards is time out of your day, and know that it is very appreciated. Here's another quote I wanted to share. If you think something is too small to matter, try sleeping with a mosquito. She threw a smiley face in there. I think that translates to appreciated gestures like including spouses. Thanks so much, Sue.
Isn't that awesome? I love that quote.
Yeah.
You know, if you think something is too small to matter, try sleeping with a mosquito. Just,
When you just think about it, how irritating the mosquito is. That's all I can think about is just how irritating that. Or the mosquito bite afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that's what you're left with when you think that problem's too small, is that bite afterwards usually.
And what you hear, you're laying there or you're sitting in a quiet room and all you hear is that mosquito.
Buzz.
You're like, where is it? Where is it?
Here's that trouble, huh?
I just appreciate how well Sue writes. It's really easy to read.
Right.
With her punctuation there. I'm used to reading stuff from Ray Ray, and it's like... Shout outs.
1,200 words, no comma.
No periods, no capitals.
Oh, there's capitals just in random places.
That's the way Jim Smith, the squirrel, used to write when he would write. Remember, Dave?
All capitals.
Oh, no punctuation and no capitals. It was just run on babble.
That's because he was talking to Jimmy.
Jimmy was talking.
JR wants to give a shout out to Gerardo for chaining up before entering into the dairy. Tracy added in, fantastic job making phone calls and not making bad decisions. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's nice. Instead of getting a call that you're stuck, getting a call that I don't want to get stuck. What should I do?
Right.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
Gerardo's definitely one of those silent warriors. He just
man.
goes out, gets the job done, don't really hear too much from him.
Right.
But when you see him, he's always happy and says something nice. And
engaged.
Good teammate. Yep. And then not so much a shout out, but Manny did reach out to us yesterday, or to Brother Dave, I should say. He's having a rough time, so let's pray for Manny and his family, and just hope for healing and recovery and stuff like that.
He's optimistic, though.
Oh yeah.
He still hopes and wants to be back April, May area there. So
yeah.
I mean, he's had 3 back surgeries, and the pain that he's fighting, and then he had a slip and fall after all of that.
Oh, man.
Yeah, thank goodness, nothing was broken, from all the surgeries and stuff that he had done. But yeah.
He's still got faith. He still has faith, and he's still putting it in Jesus' name. And yeah, he's definitely a strong-minded individual.
Right.
So, I love it. And then Rico Christensen. Oh, you guys got any shout-outs before I move on to this? No?
Yeah, just kind of a personal one, Jam, and I know I just mentioned it, but spending the weekend with the friends from high school, just a shout out to Chris and Chuck and Jenny and Will, and the after 40 years, and you make those friends back in the past, but it's just nice to still have those like-minded people today that you make that connection with, and I think that's and then I kind of wanted to switch it over to shout out for everybody here that we're all like-minded people too, and that's the culture we have. So yeah, just a shout out to those guys, 4 great individuals, and everybody here.
It's like a brotherhood or sisterhood, right, Jim?
It is, Dave. Yeah. We talk about those circles, but I think we create those circles because those are the like-minded people that we gravitate to, and I know we've come up with all sorts of sitting by the person that's however it went, 10% smarter than you are makes you 20% smarter, or however that those stats go. I wish I could spit stuff out like that, but we talk about so much stuff, but they just make you better.
Yeah, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, absolutely. There's an old one, Jim, that we haven't said for a while, and
Biblical.
yeah, and you just you run into those spots that, in the tournament they ended up shutting it down like I mentioned, but I told Dave this morning that had a great time on fantastic weekend, but you always have those people in the crowd that are yelling mean things, bad things, disruptive things, whatever, to the players of the tournament.
Not like-minded.
Not like-minded. But I don't understand to do that.
Right.
I don't understand that. Yeah, when you mention like-minded, I don't have a mind like them. Right. They're there, and they're the best of the best that you could learn something from. You can watch of how well they swing. They're there competing. You can tell how serious, and it's a beautiful place. But then you got this guy, you swing like shit, or something like that. Just out of the blue, and I'm.
You suck, DeChambeau.
Yeah. How do you? Where does that come from?
I practice.
Do you in front of the mirror?
Yeah, Jim. All the golf that I watch. And I don't watch like a lot, but I've watched plenty on TV. Everybody's really quiet and respectful, and then the dude hits the ball and they clap, and it's very
even the announcers start whispering, right, Dave, on TV.
Yeah,
like he's going to there and he's going to hit the ball.
Yes.
Blah 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 blah. And you're like, what?
I couldn't imagine hecklers in a golf crowd.
Yeah, some of that they cut out. Sometimes they do all quiet down, Dave, but. Yeah, they had. I mean, it's just TikTok is what I'm on. But man, they heckled. I have to look it up his name, but right in the middle, and it was about other tournaments. And he finally turned to the crowd and goes, "Just shut up." And I don't know if it was the person. He goes, "I'm just tired of it." He said, "I'm tired of it." Yeah, he said, "I've blown. I'm over the top. You made me say something to the crowd." And the guy goes, and I don't know if it was the guy. He says, "Well, I'm sorry, sir." And the guy goes, "Don't sir me now. You already said it."
Wow.
And you're just like
one word, 3 syllables.
Yeah.
Alcohol.
Yeah, and all of that, and it just I really had a good time. I don't want to take away from the time and the trip and the event.
People are disappointing.
Yeah, and I don't understand.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, on a positive note, Dustin Courier just sent me a text message. He wants to remind everybody his girls will be at this yard on Friday at 3:30 and at yard 23 on Monday selling Girl Scout cookies. So,
all right, Girl Scout. That's the way we left it last week was, the Samoan cookies and the Thin Mints and all those stuff.
Yeah, I sit next to JR, and JR got all the cookies, so it's been working out really well.
Good stuff.
Any other shout-outs, guys?
Guys,
quiet. Like anybody?
Shout out to my granddaughter Lexi for finishing
there you go, Dave.
Out of a field of hundreds.
So. Nice.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
That's fantastic, Dave. Yep.
So Rico Christensen sent me his cancer update this morning. Said, "Good morning, Jam. Just want to give you an update on my cancer journey. As you already know, my last radiation treatment was on January 4th. Since then, I have slowly started to feel somewhat normal. I have an appointment tomorrow with my new surgeon since we changed insurance companies. It has been a bit of a difficult road to try to navigate finding a new oncologist and surgeon, but I finally have 2 narrowed down." Good. In my last update, I said that it was going to be 3 to 4 months of recovery before surgery, and I was mistaken. They actually want to do surgery 8 to 10, I'm assuming months, after my last radiation treatment, which means in the next 2 to 4 weeks. Oh no, maybe 8 to 10 weeks after last radiation treatment, which means in the next 2 to 4 weeks. Thankfully, the new doctors are aware of this and things are starting to move right along. I will let you know once I have the surgery date, and as always, I appreciate everybody's thoughts and prayers. P.S. Let's not forget the ultimate Valentine's Day gift, John 3:16, the King James Version. "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believe in him should not perish but have everlasting life." Amen, Rico. Thanks for the update.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, that's a big change. Like, 2 to 3 months, whatever. Oh no, like you're coming up.
Right.
So
he's a warrior.
He is. All right, let's jump into discussion. Number one piece of news, Brother Dave, you brought this up. Monday the 19th is President's Day. What does that mean to us? It's a bank holiday. What does that mean to us?
No payday.
No payday on Monday. You probably get your money. Well, if you don't have it before Monday, you get it on Tuesday, which used to be our official payday. I know Joanne says Monday is our payday now, but not this Monday, not the 19th. Can I make it any more confusing? Kendrick, he wanted to put out there, if you get stuck, stop. Pay attention to standing water and be forward thinking. So we've just had, with the snow and then it melting, we've had a few people get stuck recently. One person drove into a big puddle, and, the description that we heard yesterday is like, if there's water standing there, that means there's some soft stuff underneath it. So stay out of there. If you don't see tire tracks, don't create new ones. Stay on the road.
Yeah, even the change in the color of the ground, there might not be water there, but if it's darker than the ground around it, it's probably soft.
Right.
There's water underneath it.
That's some good old school advice right there.
Yeah.
That's experience. Love it.
I've been stuck a time or two.
And then what do you do when you get stuck, Soup?
You stop and you check it out and then call the shop, make sure that you don't tear anything up. And, sometimes you got to get the shovel out,
9 times out of 10, you get that shovel out, you can get yourself out.
Right.
Yeah.
As long as you stopped.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't keep going
Yeah.
deeper. Just spinning your tires makes you go deeper and
Yep.
deeper.
Yep.
Doesn't get you out.
I'll never forget the day we had a delivery of, torch over at Yard 23, and the guy got stuck, so he called us to let us know he was stuck, so I went over there, thinking I'm going to have to get some machinery and pull him out. I get there, and I grab the shovel, and he watched me. I'm like, try it now.
It is just amazing with that stuff, isn't it, you guys? I mean, I can't even remember the driver's name that got stuck in the sand, going out to Coors last fall or spring or whatever, was just in that sand. And, we didn't want to call a tow wrecker, and there's no equipment around and everything. I'm like, let's just shovel behind all the tires.
Right.
And let's just see if the truck will move. Give some place for the truck to go in the sand.
Right.
And it went down in that spot, and we backed up and did it one more time, and pretty soon the truck you just backed out of it. You assess the situation. But for he stopped though. That was a key thing. Wasn't just didn't keep hopping the truck and didn't drive in there at 50 miles an hour. That was stop where we could fix the situation. So important.
Absolutely. I mean, exactly what Gerardo did. I mean, he recognized it and did exactly what Kendrick's talking about. Mm-hmm. Forward thinking. So,
which 10 minutes to chain probably was hours less than being stuck.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty excited about this next one. I think it definitely could help JFW, but we are in the middle of a 30-day trial of some online training called INFINIT-I.
Are we in the middle of it?
We are in the very beginning.
Yeah, I was
We are like 20, we're probably 12 hours into our trial.
We may have diapers on.
Yeah, exactly. We are in the infancy stage for sure. But INFINIT-I is an online training program. They have 800 videos of content and quizzes already uploaded on their platform. We are able to upload our own videos and quizzes, and we just think it's going to take our training program to the next level. We are a very safe company, but we don't really participate in a lot of things to continuously feed people other than this podcast, and we're not really sure who even listens to it. So excited about that. You will see in the next month, you'll see a couple of their videos. You're going to see a couple of our videos. We're going to send out one video a week to test out. And we really want full participation. Please check it out. Let us know what you think about it. let us know if you think it's going to be impactful. Give it a fair shake. And guess what? You might be like, well, it sounds like we need another app. Well, you can download the app, but you can also not download the app. We will just send you a link to your phone. You click on that link, that takes you to your training, and bada bing, bada boom.
Boof.
Sounds pretty easy.
Yep.
So
is the link going to be in a text, Jam, or it'll be personal email, or it's going to be?
It'll be in a text. Yep, it'll be in a text. I did talk to INFINIT-I. They haven't ran into any problems with privacy or, it's not a thing. So,
Gotcha.
But if you do get the text and you're like, I don't want to get a text message with the link, well, let us know if you'd rather get it to your email, because we could change that in your preferences where you get it emailed to you versus a text. But really, if you think about it, doing it on your phone is going to be the best, because you could do it while you're waiting or in between loads.
Yeah, you can do it going down the road.
Yeah.
Not.
Watch the distracted driving video on your way to Fry. Well, just kidding. Wallstrom.
and I know you guys just mentioned it, like the distracted driving. What do the videos consist of, Jim?
Yeah, it could be anything from following too close, distracted driving. If anybody watched that 8 seconds, a fatal distraction, I got that video off of there. They're the first ones that showed it to me. It could be, I know we're going to post up our load gauge video. We're going to post up our cammed over video. It could be about 3 points of contact. It could be about axles. It could be about
speed and space.
Yeah.
Following too close, running stop signs. I mean, there's 800 videos. It's a pretty big library of options.
And how are we going to know people have watched it?
Well, that's the beauty of it. So on their platform as admins, we could see who's opened it, who's watched it, who took the test. You got to get 100 on the test too. So, it's like anywhere from a 2 to 7 minute video, let's say, and then there'll be like a 5-question test. So you do need to pay attention and then answer the questions correctly, and then we will know whether you've watched it and passed or failed and stuff like that.
And do you just keep taking the test until you pass?
We could set that up a couple different ways. So we could set it up, if you fail, you got to watch the video again, or we could set it up, if you fail, you could just take the test over again until you pass.
Gotcha. And then what are we going to do with the test scores? Why are we doing this?
To make the fleet safer, to just feed our fleet with more safety items and issues and education and awareness.
Gotcha. And you don't think our classes that we're doing covers all that, Jam? I mean, like JR and stuff, or is this more of a reminder for the older drivers?
It's for everybody.
Yeah.
So I mean, we do have orientation. I'm sure there's some safety stuff in there. Then they go to Kendrick, and I know Kendrick preaches safety. But what about the guy that's been here for 3 months? He hasn't, had any safety other than the podcast if he listens. What about the guy for here a year or 3 years or 5 years? So.
Yeah, I forget the statistics, but when Larry was out from Great West Casualty, our insurance company, Larry's the senior risk analysis guy, right? So, and you guys, if you guys remember, jump in there, Jam or Super Day or Jam or Jim, on what the number was. But he goes, you take that driver that's driven for, 1 to 5 years. Or 1 to 3 years, I think that was a pretty critical area because he's a new guy, right? Expected to have a bump or a boom there in that time frame, and then you've got the guy that's driven for. And again, I'm making these numbers up, so if something seems out of whack, let me know. Like the 5 to 9 years, pretty safe area, right? Mm-hmm. They're usually a pretty safe driver if they got through that 1 to 4 criteria pretty well. Well, then anything like 9 and over, if you've been driving for like 15 years. And no one's putting that thought in your mind, reintroducing you to the risks that you face every day, the odds go up you're going to crash.
Right.
And we have a lot of those people that are here, that are extremely safe. But when he gave us those numbers, it was like, whoa, wait a minute, we're doing nothing to help those people.
It's almost like they're due.
Yeah.
It sucks to say.
Yeah, exactly. But if we're, if once a month we're sending out a video that, this month it's on speed. Let's say next year if we do pull the trigger on this, because this is just a 30-day trial, next September we send out a driving safe in weather conditions video. And then in October maybe there's one in there on chaining up. And we can create the test. We can make whatever test we want after we watch that video and attach it to it, and they have to take it. So
yeah, a couple other cool things is we could just make a quiz with no video. Like we can make one attached to the podcast. All right, here's episode 119 quiz. There's 5 questions on what we discussed today. That goes out to everybody. Another nice feature is, let's say through Samsara somebody's struggling with following too close or with whatever the case may be, we could send that person specific videos related to what that driver's issue is. The other thing we could do is there's a CSA function on the platform where we pull our CSA, we could see what we're struggling with and then send videos out with what JFW is struggling with as a company. Like I know we had a rash of window tint tickets there for a while. That was a big one. Am I correct?
There's some on there, yeah.
Yeah, so I say a rash. I mean, maybe there was 2 or 3, but when there's not a lot on there and there's 2 or 3 of one thing, it seems like a lot. We could send out, there's a windshield discoloration and crack video where it explains the rules and stuff like that. So seems great. There hasn't been a catch yet. The 30-day trial does actually seem like a 30-day trial. There was no strings. There's no commitment. There's, I just like the way they've been handling things. So Casey is actually the lead on this, so you could expect some announcements or assignments via Casey, but all the safety team are admins, and if Kendrick sees somebody struggling with something, boom, we could send it out. We could do things with orientation where people actually watch videos before they even get to JFW, if we could get that engagement out of that person.
Right.
It could help with JR's orientation. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of possibilities, so we do want to give it a fair shake. So yeah.
We want to try and break it. I mean, that's what I told you guys yesterday. Let's break it in the next 30 days.
Right.
That way, if it doesn't work and it's a waste of all of our time, we're not doing it. Right? Let's break it in the next 30 days. Let's find out what doesn't work about it, how it's not helping us or whatnot. But man, so far investigating it, it seems amazing.
Yeah, we did. Some of the safety team and even Ann was involved. We did a 10-day trial where they sent us some videos and we checked it out and did the tests and stuff like that. We checked a few other platforms out. Carrier's Edge was one. 10th Street, I know Super Dave, you're a big fan of those guys. We checked them out. But INFINIT-I did seem to be the best.
I liked it the best.
Yeah, the 2 gals that are setting it up, they've been a pleasure to work with. And that means a lot to me because when somebody's got a decent product but their service sucks, I mean, it's just hard for me to buy into that.
And those people aren't on foreign soil.
Right.
They're here in the U.S.
Yep. Texarkana.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Doesn't get much more American than that.
No. You guys have any other questions about it, Jim? Did you have any other? I love your questions. So,
what? So that's something we're going to make the drivers do?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So ultimately, and I'll just throw this out there. I mean, we haven't really decided as a group, right? But we could potentially attach this to you receiving your safety bonus. It won't affect the amount of the bonus. Like if you're a guy that earned $1,250, but you haven't watched your 3 videos for the quarter, you're gonna have to watch those before we move forward.
Yeah, they're absolutely painless too. I mean, I did a whole handful the week before I went on vacation, and I think it's about refresher and refreshing these. I mean, how many rules and situations and all these things, more than you can count. And there's no way a person could remember all these little things. So, all it's going to take is one time for a guy to watch a video about, and I'm making this up, about a motorist speeding and then cutting the driver off, taking away his safety margin, let's say. And then when you have that happen to you and you just watched a video on it last week, you're going to think, oh, yeah, that's right. I need to increase my safety cushion or whatever.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, the amount of videos they have is 800 some videos, and there's going to be some keys in those videos somewhere where somebody's going to watch the video and say, oh yeah,
Yep.
I better do this, or I better look to my left, or I better,
Yep.
I mean, the amount of examples is almost uncountable.
Yeah, and I think the push on that is, we don't want to make you watch the video. We truly hope our culture is driving safety,
Right.
and you're going to want to watch the video.
Right.
You're going to want to be better and go, I wonder what this video is about. I'm going to watch it. It's, 3 minutes. I think I have time for that,
Yep.
and take my little test and move on and learn something this month. And I know we keep talking about months and weeks, and what we initially talked about was every month sending a video out if we move forward with this platform. But the 30-day trial, we want to try and break it. We're going to do one a week.
Right.
Just because we want to know what don't we know, right? Yep. So we want to test it fully out.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I watched 5 videos and took 5 quizzes in like 20 minutes.
Did you get 100 on all of them?
I missed 2.
You're that guy.
Yeah, out of all the questions of all the quizzes.
You got to
I
pay
missed 2.
attention.
You do. You really do.
If you pay attention, you'll get 100.
And then when you have to go back and re-watch the video, you're like, man, I can't believe I missed that, And then you really do pay attention more the second time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a matter of being, we talk about being proactive versus reactive. So when we look at our safety program, we are safe because I feel like we are very hands-on. The radio announcements daily, you guys watching trucks leave the yard in the morning, the constant feeding, right? But as far as the actual program goes, does it stop with Ken's, 2 days? Does it stop with the podcast? What else are we doing? We say we have a culture of safety. Well, what does that entail, I guess?
I mean, the camera is the number one right now.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's a huge,
that's really impacted
big thing
our safety.
for us, right?
Absolutely.
That creates your safety score and whatnot. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, definitely need to make decisions. I mean, ultimately, we need to, at the end of the 30 days, we need to feel that this program is going to stop an accident or stop somebody from getting hurt.
Right.
Otherwise, we don't need it.
Right.
So.
Other than talking about it, how are we helping anyone with distracted driving right now?
Right.
Right? We wait to get an alert. Mm-hmm. Then once we've got some alerts, we're talking to that person.
Right.
Well, I mean, aside from talking about it, people learn different ways. I know it's impactful to watch something and learn.
If you didn't learn something watching that 8 seconds
about distracted driving,
you ain't learning anything because
you need to check out your medulla oblongata.
Your amygdala. If you watch that video, and I know we talked about this, but in class, I love telling stories about class because they just don't take any bullshit. They don't accept anything less than a high standard. And we were doing something, and the person that went first missed something, right? But then the next guy comes and he missed the same exact thing, and the instructor says, if you went first and you missed it, that's one thing. But we talked about it. So if you go and you miss it right after that, that's dumb. And you just did that. And there was some curse words in there and stuff like that, but it's like, if you watch that video, 8 seconds, one fatal distraction, and then you go and you are distracted driving, you're dumb. Like that's just stupid. So.
Yeah, is there any other videos in there? Is it just for the drivers, or there's any shop stuff in there?
There's OSHA stuff. There's definitely other things that we could explore. Right now, I just sent the driver's list. We'll try it there first, and I mean, in the next couple of weeks, maybe we could get the mechanics and the wash bay involved.
The shop and wash bay can definitely be part of it, even the office.
Yeah, and then if there's not a video that we want for them, we could create it. We could create our own content, and that content is just ours. It doesn't go out to other INFINIT-I users. It's ours. So, we could make a video on, how to change a tire, how to jack up a truck, how to, fix a liner, how to do a short, whatever we want. We can make. Obviously, there's time and production and stuff like that into making these videos, but I guess that's the thing is if we say it, if we like it, and it seems like it has potential, I mean, this could be a major part of everything that we do. So.
fingers crossed.
Yeah,
We're trying something out to be better.
absolutely. Linda, excuse me, says dispatch wants to thank everybody for hanging in there. They are looking for extra work. She did make it a point to say nobody should not work for 2 days in a row. If this happens, please contact dispatch. It's a mistake. There was an oversight. They thought you worked or they missed it. But if you didn't work on a Monday, you should work on a Tuesday. And I mean, hopefully with the weather and we're approaching the middle of February. Hopefully we see some changes in weather and we start projecting upwards.
Yeah, absolutely, Jim.
So. And then the next item on my list is cammed over. We talk about being cammed over a lot. We did have a core spill here in the yard the other day. Driver came in, his truck was preloaded, and there was a bunch of grain on the ground. So we got to make sure that we are cammed over. If you don't understand what that means, please, we could send you the video. You could get one of the safety directors. You could ask a lot of people what that means, and I'll show you. You do need to look underneath your trailer fender to make sure you're cammed over. That's not a visual inspection from the outside of how your dogs are laying over the tailgate tabs, I guess you would call it. So, and then my last thing is scales. Come to a complete stop before you get on the scale. Come to a complete stop and then idle onto the scale. If you're getting on the scale at 5 miles an hour, 3 miles an hour, that's too fast. 7 miles an hour, too fast. If something happens at that speed, it just causes a lot of damage, where if you are idling and something happened, the damage is going to be a lot more minimized.
I have to add first gear to that.
Yeah.
Idling on in third gear and idling on in first gear, two big differences.
Great point.
So,
like it.
Yeah, on the cammed over, can the dogs, is the linkage loose enough? I don't know if loose enough is a good word. Can it sit on top of the bars on the tailgate and still cam over when you're looking? It shouldn't be able to move that far, right?
I wouldn't think so.
Oh, so you're talking about, here's your tab or bar, and it's kind of on top of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think that would be an obvious sign you're not cammed over.
I can't remember what the circumstances were, Jim, but we actually bent one of those dogs before, like a year ago or 2 years ago. And I think it was just the passenger side, which was really weird. But I mean, it took that horseshoe and bent it.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the circumstances of how that happened or what went on, but it annihilated it. Wow. So, yeah.
And then on the dogs, so are we, because I know the video and the cammed over and that the bar, the knuckle there, does everybody understand that? I mean, the video's there, but is there an understanding of what that's doing? Do we need to teach more? Because I guess this is what we've sent out a video, we've discussed it, we've been on the podcast, we've done this, we've done that, and boom, we still had a trailer do that Monday, right? Monday. So what are we missing?
Short of a picture, Jim.
Well, I mean, that video was a pretty good picture.
Yeah.
No,
Kendrick goes over it.
No, I'm talking after you load. Here, I took a picture of these are cammed over. If something happens, it's not on me.
Yeah.
I mean, I would do that as a driver if there's been issues.
Right. I mean,
we got to give them the tools, or they've got to feel safe that they can take all the pictures they want, but if it's not really cammed over and they think it is, that's the problem. I guess I can't believe that, and I mean, it's not throwing ish underneath the drive tires here, but he said it was cammed over.
He was preloaded. He didn't load that truck.
Oh, okay. So he was preloaded. So
he came into the mess. Yeah,
gotcha. But what are we still missing?
Yeah, I mean, Kendrick goes over it during training. This is what cammed over looks like, and then I think sometimes until somebody experiences something, it doesn't mean something to them. I hate to say it.
Yeah, let me ask this.
Well, let me interrupt you, Dave. I guess that's the reason I'm just. What did you just say?
Until something happens, it doesn't mean anything to them.
Okay, so even if I watch a video But if it doesn't really happen to me, it doesn't mean anything to me.
For some people, possibly.
Right,
That's how they learn.
So
like,
I guess that's what I'm worried about, what we're doing and what we're still missing, because we're not putting a dent in the cam thing.
right.
And I guess anybody that's listening, if you can pass the word, or if you have any questions, or you think there's mud underneath the trailer, or it's frozen, or there's grain stuck in the seal, or anything like that, that we just really need to stop this. We have it continually, and we need to try to put a stop to it. Pass the word, and I know we do a campaign and stuff like that, and we need to try our best to see if we can figure out what's going on. So sorry, Dave, if you
No,
remember
no.
the thought.
I'm glad you finished up with that thought. This is more towards Brother Dave. Ooh. So for years,
Feel the pressure.
before we ever even started hauling cores, we were hauling dirt. We were hauling compost, materials that put tons of weight against those tailgates. I never once had my tailgate pop. Not once in 20 years. Is there a design flaw with these not all trailers we run now? What is the difference between the design and one thing I do remember is that the linkages for my old tailgate, when it was cammed over, they were like parallel. It wasn't extended out with a knuckle in the middle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So why are these trailers having so much trouble?
So a couple different things, Dave. It's nothing to do with the trailer. It's the same cammed design that's been around for 50 years with the end dumps. But the issue is that grain is so wet and so heavy against the gate, Dave. Like the mulch we used to haul, could you get on 90,000 pounds of mulch?
No, but you could compost
Right?
and dirt as well.
Right. But how often was it preloaded?
We didn't do that much back then.
Right.
You know, you'd load it and go.
Right. So we would never know until that trailer ran out of air that if the latch wasn't cammed over, once the trailer ran out of air, the weight would push it open. You know, so I mean we're preloading, 3-4 trailers a night. So by the end of the week, we've preloaded 15 to 20 loads. So if we're going to have a problem, that's when we're going to have it. And when we take off, Dave, think about this. That mulch and that manure, it never sloshed. When you put it in gear and took off, that load didn't roll backwards and put weight against the gate. This stuff we've hauled, I mean, you've seen we've splashed it. We've splashed it over the gate in the back, and we've splashed it over the tarp in the front. I'm not telling you it all does that, but I do believe there's some movement that puts more pressure against that gate than normal, or what we've hauled in the past. So that's my explanation on that grain. I mean, when you can physically step into a load and you can't stand on it, it's very liquid, right? I mean, that's my analogy.
We
on
even
that.
had 28 tons of the lightweight that we raised up at a railhead and put all that extra gravity on the dogs, and they didn't
full
pop.
of air, right? Full
Well,
of
yeah,
air,
of course, yeah.
yeah.
But I thought if you had your tailgate cammed over, the air's out of the equation because
Yeah.
it's the actual mechanical force of that being
Sure. I
extended.
also know the new rubber seals we put in these. If we don't catch that it's not cammed over, there's another incident for a room for error, right?
But you just said it, Super Dave. If it's cammed over and the trailer runs out of air,
Shouldn't matter.
it doesn't matter.
Doesn't
That's the
matter.
problem is when we're not cammed over and the trailer runs out of air, the tailgates
That's when
are
it pops
popping.
open.
Right.
Yeah.
So you just described it perfectly. So
Yeah, the cam is the key. That's why we talk about it.
Yeah, so if somebody still doesn't understand what that is, get with us and let's discuss it. Any one of the guys can go over it, a lot
Right.
and teach what we're looking for.
yep. Guys, got anything else for the discussion?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, only thing I know, the scales here, and we've already talked about, being in first gear and stopping before when you pull it on. I think a lot of the rules, even over at Coors, we got, trying to trade off because there's not other work and have everybody do a little bit of Coors, train new guys on Coors, that kind of stuff. there's video cameras all over Coors that Coors themselves watch. The who's Ryder?
Yeah, Ryder.
Ryder, they can look at the video cameras. That's just a place that, safety means a lot to them, just like it means a lot to us. But if there's a stop sign, stop all the way. It's not a rolling stop. The stop sign up at Coors shouldn't mean any more or less than the one at the pit or the one on the street or anything like that. It's a stop sign. Come to a complete stop. Check out if the light's flashing. Look both ways, whether the train's coming. See what's going on. And most of the time that we're grabbing those loads, it's dark in the morning. It could be dark in the afternoon, or the night guys are running it. We need to be extra vigilant, I guess. Is that vigilant on that area, but that being vigilant should count everywhere. I know we've looked at some videos and seen some guys not looking out the back window, just starting to raise the trailer and run it up. You got to look out that back window, you guys. We have to concentrate on that and make sure we're doing our jobs. It's important that we're level that first couple stages. I know up at CMEX, when we're running they told us they would not use end dumps because they tip over. And
that's their number one concern.
Yep, number one.
They just sent us. We talked about it. Was it last week that he sent out the M. Shaw?
We did. Yeah,
posting of a trailer tipping over.
And we can prove them wrong that doesn't happen if we do our job. If we look out the back window, if we make sure we're level, if our tires are all aired up, if everything is, if we do our job, follow the rules, follow the guidelines, be active in what we're doing. You pull in there and there's a big puddle of water. Let's drive in it. That's not being proactive. That's not. Yeah. That's listen to you guys talk about the videos when you're trying to get that guy that's maybe got 10 to 15 years or even 10 to 20 years driving. And I think I find it in myself, because you do drive all those years and you assume or whatever, but the word we were looking for or talk about that I never heard you guys mention is complacency. And we need to battle that complacency. And that's no different than looking at the dog, making sure it's cammed over. One thing I wanted to address, and I didn't want to bring it up, is to me, unless something drastically changes, once you know your dog's cam over, they should always cam over. I don't know unless it's war, but wearing shouldn't happen from load to load to load. That it doesn't wear out. Now, complacency is maybe not checking it if you got a bunch of mud under there, or something's froze to the gate, or the grain's built up, or you got a rock stuck in your rubber. But you cover all those other things when you go back and check after you've dumped. Mm-hmm. And especially if you're loading somebody else's, truck. I think a lot of times I've heard that the night guys want to take this guy's truck because it's squared away. Everything's done correctly to that truck because that's that guy. But if you don't continuous check it and you just think it's okay because that guy's the guy, you're back to the bottom. It's not helping a thing. And I think that's the same thing for the guys that get put in a truck. Got to check that truck out, no matter whose it is. Check out that it's cammed over, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I just want to back up and reiterate that stop sign up there at Coors, right there at the railroad tracks. When we first started up there, it was just a stop sign. Now it's a stop sign with a repetitive flashing light 24 hours a day, or lights. All the way around the octagon of those stop signs on both sides of the tracks. But what is the purpose of stopping at the tracks?
Not getting killed.
So you can take enough time to look both ways.
Exactly, yeah. Dave. Exactly. The goal isn't just to stop, right? You just, I stopped and go. You need to stop, and they should almost add it below those stupid stop signs up there. Look left, look right, then proceed, right? We're only doing what we're told up there. We're pulling up, we're stopping, and we're going. We're not pulling up there and stopping, and that's a really bizarre place, and this is a poor analogy, and we talked about it a couple weeks ago. we're stopping in an S, in the middle of an S on those tracks. So when you're loaded coming out, you can just look to your left and the train is almost coming at you to a degree. You know what I mean? And if it's coming at you when you're leaving loaded, that train has to have a little bit of momentum because that's uphill. And they've told us, hey, they got a little speed behind that train. They can't just hit the brakes and stop. So if we were to pull out there when a train is coming, kind of sketchy. I mean, damn scary, honestly, right? And then it's even worse when they're coming back down. If you're leaving loaded, you almost have to look out your back window or definitely do a lean and look forward through your passenger window to see behind you where the train is coming from. So you're in the middle of that S. So it's not just stop. Okay, I stopped. I'm going. It's a stop and look left, look right. And it's both directions. I know I keep talking about loaded coming out. It's the same way going in. When you stop, you look to the left and see the train coming down from where you're headed, or you have to almost look behind you to see if the train's coming up. So it's not just a stop sign. It's a stop, look left, look right, no train, go. Stop, look left, look right, go. I mean, it's funny because we're not doing the complete job, right? But it's a habit because, well, the sign just says stop. It doesn't say stop, look left, look right, but we should know that. So get in the habit. Stop, look left, look right, then go.
Yeah, everything you're talking about, Dave. Have you guys caught the new Progressive commercial with Jamie?
Absolutely.
Where, the bank robbers get in the car.
I loved it, Jim. I mean, that's what I was thinking of when I was talking about this.
Yeah, he pulls away like, was it 2 feet and stops? The stop sign, he looks both ways. He's like 1,000, 2 1,000.
Loved it, Jim. Totally loved it.
The bank robbers are like, I thought you said he was a wheelman. And he goes, oh, no, wheelmen. From my mother's side. Yeah, from my mother's side. And, it's just a cute commercial, but everything in it is spot on.
Yep.
Why should he mess up his safety score is what they're talking about. And not associate it with somebody else.
I haven't seen that one yet, Jim. Was it a Super Bowl commercial the other day?
No, I think it's been...
Man, it had to be on with it or around it, Jim.
It could have been.
That's when I saw it, yeah.
But
it's cute, Dave, because all the bank robbers hop in the car and they're like, let's go. Oh, no, sirree, Bob. I got safety first. And he puts on his blinker. He looks in the mirror. Then you see the car kind of pulling out. And like Jim said, he only goes 5 feet and then has to stop at the stop sign. Like, look left, look right, 1,001, 1,002. And they're like, we got to go. It's awesome.
That's funny.
Good stuff.
Veronica had a question from the audience. She asked, how is the progress on the new building going, and when are we going to break ground?
That would be a good question.
Right?
Actually, that we're progressing. I don't know exactly when we'll break ground, but this last week here, we finally had our engineer but he submitted a bunch of stuff to the Commerce City.
Applied for approval.
And that was, so it's a submittal for minor modification to the zoning of the area. It's a zoning modification, and if it's a development plan, if we can get through that approval stage, which they've changed to a computer system that automatically you have to check all the boxes. That takes it out of the commission's hand for reviewing it because they know the submittal is correct to start with. Then they can just review it of the changes. It's not, this is missing this is missing this. The computer makes sure you go, okay, here we have all the stuff. Now it can be reviewed. So hopefully that's a little quicker, slow process to get it turned in. Faster response maybe with the computer program.
It took him the majority of the day to turn that in online.
Yeah.
I mean, I just talked to him on the phone yesterday, and the premise of being automated now that it took so long to get turned in, but within 3 weeks they have to answer him. And then, we create our response and turn it back in. So we have X amount of time to answer. Then when we turn it back in, it drops to 2 weeks. And then if there's still more questions, then it drops to 1 week. So, I mean, just to answer one question could take up to 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. So one question could take a month and a half just to get answered. and they tell us this is a 7 to 9 month process. The engineer was kind of optimistic. He thinks it'll go faster. And we're like, great. So, and just to apply for that, I'll throw it out there. Jim's not saying it, but I'll throw it out there. That was a $17,000 application to ask to change our zoning. We have 7 parcels, Jim, on that specific spot. So we need to get it transformed to one parcel or created one parcel with it. And the parcels are all different zoning. They're zoned I-1, I-2, and I-3, and we need all I-2, which shouldn't be a big deal to take the I-1 there and make I-2, especially because we already have I-3, which that's a whole nother story with Adams County. They want rid of any I-3 property. You can put Suncor or a landfill on I-3, which coincidentally is also what any manufacturing facility needs. So every Brannon plant that's a asphalt plant or a concrete plant is on I-3, which basically after they changed their zoning last year, they say they won't even offer.
Wow.
So welcome to Colorado.
Sucks.
Yeah. So good question, Veronica. We're pushing all we can push, and that's as fast as they'll let us push. We've got a lot of money already wrapped up in it. What we've paid the engineer is mind-boggling. What we've paid for the traffic study is mind-boggling. We've had to pay for engineering on the building. We've had to pay for engineering on. We had to have a landscape engineer draw the drawings. They wanted over $10,000 to draw the drawings to engineer the landscape. And I asked the builder we're working with. I said, is that to draw it and install it, or is that? He's like, oh no, that's just the drawings. And you guys, when you look at the drawings, it shows like, picture a tree but out of the ground with the root ball on it, and it gives the 3-word name of the tree. You're just looking at it, it's like, well, that's a freaking pine tree, and no, that's a coniferous eminemiferous blah blah blah, and you're like, oh my god, it shows how it has to be buried, it has to have stakes tied off to the sides, and I'm like, so the city's going to tell us how to plant a tree. That's where we're at. That's the world we live in, because they'll help us do it better. Right?
I'm going to have to give up, Dave.
Painting a bleak picture, huh, Jim?
I give up.
Yep.
Would have been cheaper to move to Weld County, huh?
You never know, Dave. You never know.
Well, we've already covered the safety topic, staying on the roads and the pits, don't get stuck. Ray Davis, calling you out, bud, 2 weeks in a row.
What?
No
Ray?
tips or tricks.
Man, he usually smokes them in there, doesn't he?
Yep. I know he was moving, and
okay.
He's got a lot going on.
He's got a lot going on. Doesn't help us, though. So let's move on to Super Dave's High Road Hauling. Hit it.
All right. Well, I think this pertains to everybody, just at different times of their life. Sometimes you're hot on the trail to accomplish something, and sometimes you're not. But even still, it's important to keep your vision alive. So while watching the New York City Marathon, I remembered a statistic that most runners quit in the 20th mile. They don't quit in the first mile because they're just getting started, and they don't quit in the last mile because even though their body is physically exhausted, they see the finish line and keep moving towards it. Most runners quit in the 20th mile because that's when they're physically tired and mentally drained. That's when they lose their vision for the road ahead, so they give up. No matter who you are or what you do for a living or how old or young you are, we all have a 20th mile. Professional football players say it usually occurs during the third quarter of the season. Professional drivers say they struggle to stay awake just before dawn. It's at that moment that they feel they have traveled so far and yet have such a long way to go. Our 20th mile may be different for each of us, but the way to conquer it is the same. Keep your vision alive. See the finish line. Keep moving forward. Remember where you are going and why you are going there in the first place. If you can see it, you can create it. If you have a vision, you also have the power to make it happen. Don't give up. No matter how tired you feel, no matter how much you want to quit, no matter what obstacle is in your way, keep moving towards the vision you have for your future and the finish line. 50,000 people finished the New York City Marathon this year. You and millions more can move past the 20th mile in your lives to realize that your vision, to realize your vision and reach your destination with your hands in the air victorious. As Nike says, there is no finish line. There are new races to be run and a new 20th mile to be conquered, new visions to be realized, and new destinations to be reached. Keep your vision alive. Your future is waiting for you. And the quote this week is by Friedrich Nietzsche, who was a German scientist and philosopher. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. So there you have it.
Interesting.
Got to move
Read
past
that quote again, Dave. Say that again one more time.
He who has a why to live can bear almost any how.
Wow.
Deep, huh?
That's like Confucius, man. That's a good one.
Yeah, Friedrich, I've looked him up before. He was a very cool dude. Lived in like the, I want to say 17 or 1800s, but he was ahead of his time and quite a thinker.
Nice.
And was that the beginning of it, Dave? Was that a marathon that they say you're running?
So and this is a real statistic. When you're running a marathon, most runners quit, and marathon is 26.2.
That's what I was looking up.
They quit in
Dave.
the 20th mile.
Yeah, so 6 miles left.
Yeah,
but can't see the end because it's 6 more miles.
Yeah,
that's what I looked up. Yeah.
That they are so tired and they've gone so far, but yet they can't fathom how much farther they have to go. So they're like, nah, I'm done.
Yeah.
I can relate. I ran 7 miles one time and I wanted to quit at the half a mile mark. It just seems so defeating.
But I think that goes for any goal. Jim, you said it a minute ago, you're about ready to give up on the building because of all the hoops you're jumping through. We are in the 20th mile right here, because there's so far to go, but yet you're exhausted.
That's what I love about you, Dave. Good pep talk, man. Good pep talk.
Way to be on the high road, Super Dave.
Yep, that's
I like when the guy that writes the high road Hollins is on the high road.
Right?
You give me so much shit about that, Jim.
Final thoughts, everyone?
Yep, gonna jump right to the low road here. So.
Sweet. I'll be down there in 30 seconds.
Sweet. So, closing thoughts. I just, there's a lot going on right now at the Capitol, and the fine men and women that we've elected to those positions, they're currently in session, right? Those legislators are only in session from January 1st through May, so 5 months out of the year. And I don't know whether everyone knows this. That was created when our government was formed because all of those people were farmers. They used to be farmers, right?
Makes sense.
And that was the time of year you couldn't grow or do anything in the fields, was from January 1st through May. And then come May, boy, you need to be planting crops and growing your crops and, watering them through the season and stuff. So they only work January through May as our legislators creating new rules. So that should tell you something about the people that used to be in those seats, not who are today. So anyway, they're in session right now at the Capitol, and I've talked about this before. They're down there to help, and I'm using air quotes when I say that. They're down there to help create new laws that we will be affected by, and those new laws, I've mentioned this before, they pass on average 400 laws a year, new rules and regulations. So in the last 10 years, they've added about 4,000 new laws to the books. So I guess since I spent the time and wrote this out, I'll just read it. So back in time, the elected officials were supposed to represent what we, the people, asked them for. Nowadays, it's their agenda after they're elected. So the basis of what I am talking about is elections have consequences. We need to vote, number one. And number two, we need to elect people to listen to our needs that will help small businesses and not take from it. I've mentioned this before, but on average, these so-called elected officials have created over 400 new laws, like I just mentioned. They put into effect every year. So again, in the last 10 years, they've added over 4,000 new laws. Y'all are very smart people that are listening to this podcast. What does it take to manage those 4,000 new laws? Anybody know? Anybody have a guess?
50 new people.
I keep going. I think it's a little more than 50.
500 new people?
I don't have the number, but it's 4,000 new laws in the last 10 years. I would love to have a book of business like that. Hey, this year we're going to add 400 new customers to our base. It's impossible. Can you imagine how many people we'd have to hire? So more government, with the 400 new laws, or 4,000 over the last decade, more government employees. That's just going to mean between our taxes going up every year, it's going to become exponential. We won't be able to keep up with it. It's the number one driving cause of inflation right now, right? Wait until you get your property taxes. They've put them on hold. Even though they've put them on hold, they've said you're still going to be required to pay them in time. They've put them on hold and they're not giving them to you because they don't know what they're going to be, but they're going to go up. It doesn't matter. They're going to increase. So my point here is the governmental creep is becoming so expansive that businesses like ours, all small businesses that used to employ 60% of the people in the U.S., small business used to employ 60% of the people in the U.S., and small business is dying. Meanwhile, the government is growing. It's the fastest growing business in the U.S. So I ask you again, I say all the people that are listening to this are really smart, or smart enough to know what will happen if the government keeps growing and small businesses they're being driven off or dying out. Obviously, your taxes are going to continue to go up. Your income may increase if you're working for a business that continues to increase your wages, but is it going to be enough to cover your increased costs because of inflation? Do you know one of the biggest causes of inflation is the climate change and greenhouse gas agenda that the government is pushing? The government is the only one pushing this. It's a fact. They have an agenda, and it's easy to scare the shit out of people and take control, just like they did with COVID. It's ridiculous. So I just did a presentation at the 51st Annual Rocky Mountain Pavement Show for the Colorado Asphalt Association. So let's take just our trucks for a little point in case here. The cost of our trucks have increased in upwards of $45,000 in just the last 3 years. That's $4.5 million that we need to pass on to our customers to be able to replace our trucks every 5 years. So clearly our rates have to increase. Thank you, government. The cost of our trucks have gone up because of the emissions that we are now being required to meet. 26 years ago, we were well over 50% particulate matter, carbon. That's black smoke. So 26 years ago, brand new trucks smoked like a freight train, right? So, and they had 30% nitrogen oxide. That's NOx. Bad stuff, right? Today, every single truck JFW owns that's in our fleet, it's at less than 0.2%. So we went in 26 years to from 50% to less than 1%. We're at 0.2%. Imagine that. But that's not good enough. So in 2027, we're going to be required to be at 0.02%. We're talking fractions of a fraction here. That's what's crazy. Fractions of a fraction. The trucks are going to increase in cost another $10,000 to $20,000 to make that happen. And again, we'll have to pass this on just like the other 13 million trucks that are on the road. So I did a little search on truckinfo.net, I think is the name of the place. And they say there's over 13 million trucks on the road. So if every truck that's on the road, their cost went up to replace that truck, $45,000 just like ours did, that's $585 billion that just trucking companies have incurred in the last 3 years. So do the math. 334 million people in the U.S. That's men, women, and children. Divide those two numbers, and just because of semis alone, every single person's cost went up $1,750. If you're a household of two, your number just went up to, I lost my place, $3,500. 3 people, if you're a household or family of 3, $5,250. If you're a household of 4 people or more, it's over $7,000. That's just for the trucks on the road. Just because of semis, just because of climate control, just because of greenhouse gas, just because of your government. The government is absolutely crushing us, especially Colorado's government. The extreme left is crucifying our state. How many years have we laughed at how messed up California is? Well, guess what? We have elected officials here that think California's ideas are great ideas and California is a role model. So they've decided that Colorado will become a CARB state for emissions in 2027. I don't know if everyone realizes it, but all of the hoods on our trucks have a little sticker with a picture of California on it that say CARB compliant. CARB stands for California Air Resources Board. Now, this is something that California has created, and that board has said we're going to have tougher restrictions and create tougher emissions laws than the EPA. So the whole United States is based off EPA regulations. That's the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. California was like, they're nothing. We're going to be way tougher than that. So our fair governor has signed the CARB state for emissions into act. We will officially be a CARB state in 2027. So they have tougher restrictions than the EPA. So the EPA isn't good enough for our elected officials. The governor signed it in. I damn sure don't want to be a state that follows California. Do you like the homelessness? How about the 40,000 illegal immigrants that we have here in Denver now because we're a sanctuary city? I mean, how is that possible? Denver is officially broke. They're crying for assistance. The other mayors here in the adjoining cities, Westminster, Thornton, Aurora, Colorado Springs, all of the adjoining cities to any mayor of any of the cities, Denver's asked for help from them, and they're all like, we're not a sanctuary city. We can't take on those costs. Right. You know, we don't know how to help you. We don't have the funds. Well, neither did Denver, but they're like, hey, come on here. We don't know what we'll do with you, but we're going to take you. So they're going to come after you for more. They can't afford it. The only way the cities and the governments and the states can afford to do these things is they take more money from you. This is where elections have consequences. We need tough leaders that abide by the rules of our forefathers. We expect them to do that. Now Denver's saying they don't have enough money in their budget, and guess what? They're going to start making cuts in the DMV, Parks and Rec. Can you imagine going to Denver and trying to get your driver's license renewed or your license plates? They're going to make cuts there because we've got 40,000 illegal immigrants that we're paying for that we can't afford to pay for? It's out of control. Now they're talking maybe even cuts in the Denver Police Department.
Oh, that's smart.
This is who we elected. They're holding us hostage. They're making us out to be the bad guys, and we're going to wind up paying for their decisions, right? So please vote for the right people to lead our cities, counties, and states. We are dying. Elections have consequences, and by God, you're seeing them with your own eyes. Vote, and vote with your head and not your heart. That's what I ask. That's my closing comments.
Well written, Dave. Jim?
Yeah, don't know how to follow up on that. I don't know. I mean, elections are a long ways away, so we're stuck with what we got doing. Just seems pretty hopeless. I don't know. Hopefully we can make a difference. So go out and vote. I guess that's all I know what to say.
Pay attention to what happens between now and then. We have to remember what happens between now and then.
Yeah. I just got a notice. Some primary ballot was just mailed to me.
Oh.
Yeah, I got that too.
Mm-hmm. What you got, Soup? Any final thoughts?
No, not too much.
All right.
Primary elections for what? For
I have to look when it gets there. I just saw a notification.
I think it was county. Do you have
is that what's coming up?
Yeah, I think so.
That's where it starts, though, right? Got to win the.
Local elections. I mean, there's CD8. There's the commissioner's race. There's elections every November. It just depends, who. Like in Adams County, there's 3 seats up one year and 2 seats up the next, and vice versa. There's always a flop on it's not a whole new regime every year. So
Let's see. Adams County election sent you 2024 presidential primary election ballot.
There you go.
There it goes. I have to see who I'll vote for.
Yeah, was it last week that they talked about that our Supreme Court, not Colorado, but the United States Supreme Court, did a review on Colorado trying to, ban
Trump.
Yeah. Wasn't that all last week that came out?
I think so.
That, how unlawful it was, and each state can't decide what the people can and can do, but then you look at CARB and a single state is deciding what we can and can't do. So
I'm pretty sure, somebody correct me if I'm wrong here, but they kept Trump off the ballot in Nevada on the primary, and the option was Nikki Haley, and I can't remember the wordage, what words they used, and it was someone other than this person or something like that. And Nikki Haley lost overwhelmingly. They all voted for someone else, but there was no name on there.
Well, can't you write in a name?
It wasn't a write-in.
Oh.
Let me just look it up right quick. I know
That's crazy.
Probably have to pause, but yeah.
yeah, when we ran over to have dinner in Arizona there, Tucson, there was a person outside trying to get a ballot, and the issue on the ballot, as we were walking by, he was trying to explain it to a couple, was that the issue goes on the ballot for the people to vote, not that just the legislators get to vote and decide on it. And he's like, his spiel to the people were, wouldn't you like to be in charge of what happens, not the legislators? And the couple did sign the petition, but you think about it, if you're not educated in that, how do you know? Or if you just don't go vote, how are you going to make that change? It's important. The end of their spiel should be, if you sign this and you want it on the ballot, you need to vote about it. Need to be involved.
Right.
Yeah, so Nikki Haley loses to none. And I'm doing air quotes there on none. Your choice was Nikki Haley or none.
I'll vote
and
for
everyone
nobody.
voted for none. She lost overwhelmingly to none. So
Yeah, because anybody you talk to, that nobody wants to vote for Trump or Biden.
right?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Thing you got to be careful of is when the people are dissatisfied with their leaders, crazy stuff happens, because that's exactly how Hitler became powerful. They were in a terrible economic slump. They were very upset with how things were going in Germany after the restrictions put on them from World War I.
Yes.
And so Hitler was an out. He was this charismatic guy, this great speaker, and they were like, this dude's our guy.
It took him years he went everywhere preaching, right? That this is the plan.
I mean,
this is what we're going to do. But they got screwed after World War I, and
they did.
he convinced everyone they got screwed.
Yeah, this is the way out. This
we're going to
is
take over.
Prosperity, you know.
Yeah.
Take the world, give me Jesus. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Channel 23 podcast. Hit that follow button. Also, don't forget to go back and listen to episode 72 to help find Amber's mom. Links to her story will be in the description of today's podcast notes. Let's say that creed and get on out.
Sounds good.
All right.
Together we face and overcome all that stands before us. Together we are accident-free. Together we joyfully create honest value for those we serve. Together we celebrate our differences and respect those with whom we work. Together we are accountable for our words and our actions. And together we are the JFW family.
All right,
Awesome.
everybody. Thanks for listening.
Yeah,
We'll see
have
you
a good
next
week, everybody.
I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-looking for another load. Well, it's a family tradition, any Rocky Mountain day. Our fathers before us showed us the way. We work for asphalt cowboys and concrete kings, but that's never been a problem, cause we got diesel in our veins. We've got diesel in our veins. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. I hear there's a couple million tons to move. I see them everywhere. So you best get out their way and watch that sand and gravel disappear. There's another run to make. We gotta get it there on time. And we got what it takes to lay it all out on the line. We'll lay it all out on the line. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks got the best drivers in town. They got all the tools they need to keep that hammer down. When they hit them scales, they won't need to dodge them, won't need to duck them. They just keep that hammer down, and they keep that diesel trucking. Keep that hammer down, and keep that diesel trucking. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-looking for another load. They just keep them doors a-closed, keep them butts in their seats, cause those customers are calling, and those red trucks can't be beat. They've gotta put the hammer down and pick up another load. Get it off the ground, keep them eyes open and on the road. Keep them eyes open on the road. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. Breaker 23, anybody got a copy on that Channel 23 podcast? Welcome, and thanks for listening.